Good morning, y'all. Today we're going to talk about what my dogs eat. I get this question all the time, so today we're going to go over everything that they eat as well as how I feed it. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Laura from Doggy U, and I'm a certified guide dog mobility instructor, service dog trainer, and trick trainer. And today we're gonna be making breakfast for my dogs together. But before we get started, I do wanna have a little disclaimer here. This is what my dogs eat. This is not what your dog should eat. You should consult with your veterinarian or a vet nutritionist for what's best for your dog. All right, with that out of the way, let's do it. Okay, to start, I do feed a couple of different supplements to my dogs, and I find that it's easiest to feed those in some type of wet-ish food. So to do that, I actually use a little bit of this whole grain chicken recipe from the Honest Kitchen. I'm only using like a quarter of a cup, and it's a freeze-dried food, so I think it's a freeze-dried food. So all I do is put like a little less than a quarter of a cup in for Whip and about a quarter of a cup for Denver. And then I am going to wet it so that I have like a nice wet base that I can add my different supplements to. The only reason I'm not pulling it out of this box is I don't like the feel of when you like reach into a bag and it's got that weird plastic feel. Anyway, I put it in a different container, so that's easier for me. So let me just wet this real quick.
And while I'm over at the sink, I would love it if you could head on down and boop that like button. Much appreciated.
Okay, so now that we've got this wet, I put it in a slow feed bowl just so it takes them a little bit longer to eat. This is not their whole breakfast, it's just the supplement part. We're gonna do some more later, but the first thing that I put in there for supplements is this Advanced Mobility from Oma's Pride. I've been feeding this, so I fed this to Jake starting when he was like 3 or 4 years old. He was out hiking me still at 15 just until a few months before he passed away. I think it's really helpful, so I feed it. It's got lipid muscle in it and what else? MSM, New Zealand lipid muscle, glucosamine, phytonutrients, bunch of stuff. So I've been feeding this for a long time. I have a relationship with Oma's Pride, and I will provide a code for you down at the bottom. I got 45% off for y'all for watching this video. So we just switched it to 45% off your first order. And it's something that I fed for a decade before I ever started having an affiliate relationship with them. I really believe in this product. I feed it to my dogs. So I'm gonna put some into Whip's bowl. Whip's bowl is this one. Denver is the smaller one because it takes him longer to eat it. And then the other thing that I sometimes add in is this digestive performance. I don't do this all the time, but I have some, so I'll throw a little bit of that in there as well, especially if they have like a stomach, like anything going on with their tummy, they ate something weird, whatever. And then I also do Dasiquin. That was recommended to me by my vet, so that's what I do. For me, the mobility stuff, like keeping their joints healthy, is really, really important, especially when we're talking about service dogs. So all of that is kind of in service of keeping their mobility as healthy as possible for as long as possible. And to go along with that, I also do some salmon oil. This one is also from Oma's Pride, Wild Alaskan Salmon Oil. I just do a little squirt. Now, you might be like, okay, you're feeding this, this stuff, and then we're also gonna feed other stuff. Isn't that too many different things? Well, my dogs live on the road a large portion of the year, and it's really important to me that my dogs can eat a variety of things so that if I'm on the road and can't find their specific whatever, I have other options. Plus, for when I'm on the road, so I feed a lot of raw at home. On the road, I feed a little bit less raw because I only have a certain amount of freezer space. And so having something like this, the Honest Kitchen stuff that I can rehydrate, I can take that, mix in their kibble, wet it, and put it in a Kong and freeze it, so I don't have to have as much raw on the road if I don't have it. Because right now, Denver is actually out in the car eating the second part of his breakfast, and this morning that is a topple. So it's a topple filled with raw meat. So sometimes I'll have him eat his breakfast in the car, especially if I'm going to like Pilates in the morning, and I can give him something to do in there before we head out on a hike. One thing to think about when putting your dog in a crate is we always want to go ahead and take off all of their equipment so that they don't get caught up in anything. I've seen dogs get caught up by their tags, by their collars, so we try to keep them naked when they're in the crate and eating breakfast. So in the morning, they typically get their bowl of their supplements and the wet-ish food. And then they also get something else. That's either going to be a puzzle toy with their kibble in it. And for kibble, I feed Go, and I also feed Victor, mostly because Go is a very premium investment food, and I found that Victor works really well too, so I actually mix them together and feed them a mix, and that way if they're ever out of Go or if there's ever a recall or whatever, I have 2 different types of kibble they do well on. So they're going to either get that in a puzzle toy for the remainder of their meal, or they're going to get a filled topple or Kong, or they're going to train with me, and that's going to be a mix of their kibble plus a different type. Like I use Vital Essentials is one of the ones I use. I use like a Spot and Tango kibble. They're all kibbles, but they're more novel, so it feels like a treat. So I'm going to train with that. So I have 2 parts of the meal. I have this part, which is the supplements in the morning, as well as some other part. And it really just depends what I'm doing in the morning. Like if I'm filming a video, that's why Denver is out in his crate eating his Kong, and then eventually he'll go out on his off-leash little hikey poo this morning. So let's go ahead and stir this up for them.
I did want to mention here that they get their supplements and this bowl only in the morning, but for dinner they do training and or a puzzle toy.
So my biggest thing with food is that I want to use it to my advantage. The dog has to eat every day, and I want to get a better behaved dog, a more tired and fulfilled and happy dog through my use of food. Now that's not to say that they only get fed through doing work. That's not something, like if they didn't feel like working that day, weren't feeling good, they're definitely going to get fed. However, both, like my dogs have an excellent work ethic. They really enjoy working, and so they love to work for their breakfast. And even with just this bowl of food, I still do a little training with this bowl. So what I'll do is I call it a one-off rep or my single rep, and that's something that I'm working on that maybe I want to be very, very high value. So for Denver, it's his hold. So I will practice having him do 1 rep of a challenging behavior, and that's gonna be his hold behavior. I'll have him hold, and then I'll say yes, he runs into his crate, and he gets his big bowl of food for him to eat. So that's all mixed up and ready to go. If you have questions about what I feed, why I feed it, definitely put them down in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. Again, check out that Oma's Pride. I'll link that down below. 45% off your first order. The stuff that's from there is the wild salmon oil, the advanced mobility, the digestive performance, as well as the raw food. And then everything else I will also have listed down below so you can check it out. This is just what my dogs eat. Your dogs don't need to eat this way. Just want to remind you that. You want to do what's best for your dog. All right, you want to see him do a 1 rep hold and how I do breakfast in the morning with a bowl like this? Because even with a bowl of food, I want to try and get, again, better behavior. We can reinforce with the things that our dog loves anyway, and he loves this bowl of food so much. Denver, take it. Yes. Good job, buddy. Good boy. Ooh. Free. All right, y'all, that is our breakfast routine. A little bit of food in the bowl to get those supplements down, and then something fun afterwards, either a Kong or topple, or some kibble in a puzzle toy, or ideally some training, because if we train just at breakfast and dinner consistently, just for a couple minutes, we're going to have a better behaved dog. And if we do it every time they have a meal, that means we're going to be consistent, and consistency is key. All right, I'm gonna let them finish up their meals, and I have to go pack because I am leaving tomorrow for 2 months on the road with these two. Can't wait. You'll definitely get some updates from the road. And hey, if you like this video, you'll probably like this one too. So you all have an awesome day. Click on this now, and happy training.